Hey learners, welcome to Connected. Today we are going to study about the chapter of climate and how it is influenced by location and physiography. So, without wasting any more time, let's get started. Students, do you know the three main basic natural reasons that influence the natural environment of a place? Well, those are the climate, landforms, and drainage. The climate of a place is in turn affected or influenced by the location and physiography. India is known as a tropical country on the basis of its location. It is located in the northern hemisphere and the Tropic of Cancer passes through it. The Himalayas are also responsible for the climate changes in the country. So, let's start with the weather and climate. The words weather and climate may seem similar in meaning, but actually they are quite different. Well, weather is the condition of the atmosphere over an area for a short period of time, whereas climate is the sum total of weather conditions of variations of a large area over a longer period of time. Based on the general atmospheric conditions, a country has four different seasons: winter, which starts in December and ends in February; summer, which starts in March and ends in May; monsoon or the rainy season, which starts in June and ends in September; and the retreating monsoon, which starts in October and ends in November. There are various factors that affect the climate of a country, and here we are going to discuss them. The factors are latitude, altitude, pressure and winds, distance from the sea, ocean currents, and physiography. First, let's start with latitude. We know that the earth is a geoid and has a curved surface. So, equal amounts of sun rays do not fall on the whole surface. The sunlight received by the equator is much more than that of the poles. As the poles receive less amount of sunlight, the temperature at that part falls, resulting in climatic difference. When a person travels from the equator to the poles, he will feel the change in the temperature. For example, tropical and temperate countries. Secondly, when a person moves to higher altitude from lower altitudes like sea level, there is a decrease in the air density due to the decrease in temperature in hilly areas. The pressure and winds of a place is affected by the latitude and altitude. This results in a change in temperature of the place. Some of the examples are westerlies, easterlies, and trade winds. The distance of a place from the sea also affects its climate. A place closer to the sea experiences an equable climate, whereas a place far from the sea experiences an extreme climate. These variations or changes in the climate makes it a continental type. The sea coasts do not have much change in climate due to the land breeze and sea breeze. Huge variations in the temperature can be mostly seen in the interiors of a coastal areas. This type of variation is called continentality. The ocean currents along the shore are responsible for the coastal climate. For example, cold water and hot water ocean currents. Warm water currents are the water currents that originate in the equator and move towards the poles, whereas the cold ocean currents generate in the poles and move towards the equator. These ocean currents can travel thousands of miles and can be seen in the major oceans. Physiography describes the physical characteristics of a place, which explains the physical forces that resulted in formation of such a landscape. Mountains are an important feature that affects the climate of a place. The mountain stops the rain-bearing clouds and influences the participation of the place. Do you know the Himalayas function as barriers and protect us from cold winds of the north? One more mountain that affects the climate of a place is Sahyadri mountain range. This mountain range blocks monsoon clouds and brings about rain along the western coasts of India. Children, let's move on to the climate of India. Indian climate is a monsoon type of climate. This type of climate is a characteristic climate of the South and Southeast Asian region. Indian climate variation ranges from tropical in the south and temperate and alpine in the Himalayan region. Some elevated regions receive prolonged winter snowfall. The Himalayas and the Thar Desert creates a greater impact on the Indian climate. Regional variation of climate can also be observed in India, like the participation and temperature differs among different places based on their season. During summers, the temperature in parts of Rajasthan is around 50 degrees Celsius, whereas at the time of the temperature in Jammu Kashmir stays at about 20 degrees Celsius. In winters, the temperature is drastic falls to minus 45 degrees Celsius, but the temperature of the Thiruvananthapuram might be around 22 degrees Celsius. The precipitation is also different from place to place in its form and type. Places in higher altitudes like Himachal Pradesh, Jammu and Kashmir and Uttarakhand receive precipitation in the form of snow, whereas the rest of the country receives rainfall. The annual precipitation also varies from place to place. Meghalaya receives 400 cms, whereas Ladakh and western Rajasthan receives precipitation of 10 cms. Rainfall occurs at a higher rate during the months of June to September in most parts of the country, but coasts of Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu receives rainfall during October and November. Precipitation gradually decreases from east to west and from south to north. There are several factors affecting the climate of India. Let us learn them. India is located in the northern hemisphere, and as the equator is close to the country, it affects the climate. The southern part of India experiences a tropical climate, but the northern part of the country has a subtropical climate. The altitude has a major effect on India's climate. Himalayas are spread across India's northern frontier with a coastline of 7,516.6 km and elevation of 30 km and creates an impact in the climate of the country. It protects the country from the cold chilly winds of the north. The mountain ranges running parallel to the coastal plains influence climate and rainfall of those places. Coming to the pressure and surface winds, upper air circulation and western cyclonic differences and oceanic pressure conditions are the three main criteria that affect the climate conditions in India. Winds generated from a high pressure belt in the northern hemisphere are diverted to the right by Coriolis force. Well, Coriolis force is a type of force produced by air or wind due to the rotation of Earth. In the northern hemisphere, they are deflected to the right, whereas in the southern hemisphere, they are deflected to left. As a result of Coriolis force, the right deviated wind moves to a low pressure equatorial region. As the winds travel by land, they are dry, but as they move over the sea, they gain moisture. Thus, India experiences a monsoon type of climate. In winters, the north of Himalayas experiences a high pressure area. As a result, wind blow to the low pressure areas towards the south over the oceans, whereas in summer, excessive low pressure area gets generated over interior Asia and northwest India. High pressure develops on the Indian Ocean. As a result, winds get reversed. These winds move in southwest direction and acquire moisture as they move over the oceans. These moisture loaded winds are called southwest monsoon winds. Southwest monsoon winds generated extensive amounts of rainfall in India. Do you guys know what jet stream is? Well, jet streams are the fast-blowing westerly winds found at narrow areas of high altitudes. The upper air circulation is controlled by the jet stream. These streams are located between 27 degree to 30 degree northern latitude. Jet streams blow at the foothills of Himalayas over India. Indian jet streams are called subtropical westerly jet streams. These jet streams create disturbances in the northern parts. During summers, these streams move to the north of Himalayas. Easterly jet streams are called the subtropical easterly jet streams. In summers, these streams blow over peninsular region at 40 degree northern latitude. The easterly jet streams provide a cooling effect as well as cyclonic vortices. Cyclonic vortices are rain-bearing cyclonic clouds. The summer rain is based on cyclonic vortices. Wind circulation is the main reason behind the Indian monsoon. Monsoon is experienced at 20 degree north to 20 degrees south of the equator. Different factors influence Indian monsoons. Let us look into some of them. Differential heating and cooling of land and water generates pressure gradients between the land and water bodies. High pressure is created in the land and low pressure is created in the water bodies. Intertropical convergence zone shift affects Indian monsoon. It is a region near the equator where trade winds of the northern and southern hemisphere come together. The equatorial trough is positioned at 5 degrees north and in summers it shifts to Ganga plain into the north. During summers, this same trough is called monsoon trough. The high pressure area over Madagascar generates higher pressure in the southern part of Indian Ocean. This influences the monsoon of India. Strong vertical air currents form in summers. Low pressure is generated over Tibet at 9 km above sea level. As a result, precipitation is influenced. Tropical easterly jet streams are created during summers over South Peninsular regions. Besides, several pressure conditions are influential over monsoons of India. Sometimes the pressure on the South Pacific Ocean is higher than that of the tropical East Indian Ocean, and sometimes pressure shifts from the South Pacific Ocean to the East Indian Ocean. This shift is called southern oscillation. Another important aspect about periodic conditions is the El Nino factor. Normally, a cold current moves along the Peruvian coast of the western region of South America. When that area is affected by warm currents, the pressure conditions affect the monsoons. El Nino related to southern oscillation is called El Nino Southern Oscillation or ENSO. Let's see what is the importance of monsoon in India. We already know the climate of India is of monsoon type. The economy and lifestyle of people of India is based on this type of climate. Though India experiences various other weathers too, but monsoons create the most impact. Monsoons are the reason behind the climatic rhythms in India. The uneven exposure of temperature and rainfall gives rise to the various flora and fauna in the country. Agriculture is the main part of India's economy. It is dependent mainly on the monsoons. The festivals of our country are based on monsoons. Undoubtedly, it's the monsoon that fills rivers or our lifelines. Distribution of rainfall across India is quite uneven. The coastal areas receive 400 cms of rainfall, whereas parts of states like Rajasthan and Gujarat receive rainfall around 60 cms. Scarcity of rainfall is also seen in the interior parts of Deccan Plateau, east of Sahyadris and the Leh of Ladakh. The other parts of the country receive moderate amounts of rainfall. The annual rainfall also varies from year to year. The region with high rainfall faces calamities like flood, but in the low rainfall region drought occurs. Some areas with low rainfall are areas of Rajasthan, Gujarat and Thar Desert. These areas don't get any precipitation from Arabian Sea branch of monsoons. The Aravalli ranges lie parallel to the monsoon winds, thus it does not block the rain-bearing clouds from the Arabian Sea. The monsoon winds pass over Rajasthan and Gujarat unobstructed, leading to no rainfall. In summers, the temperature in Thar is so high that the winds get dry while passing over it. Interior parts of Deccan Plateau and the leeward side of Western Ghats fall under the rain shadow zone. Rain shadow area is a zone that does not receive much rainfall, so these sides of the Ghats receive very less rainfall. Eastern side of the Eastern Ghats and western side of the Western Ghats block the rain-bearing clouds, resulting in rainfall. As a result, the other side receives very scarce amounts of rainfall. India experiences four distinct seasons, and these are the hot weather season, the monsoon season that includes the advancing and retreating monsoon, and finally the cold weather season. With the movement of sun towards the north, the global heat belt of the sun shifts from the southern to northern hemisphere. The northern hemisphere experiences summer and the temperature rises up to 38 degrees Celsius in the Deccan Plateau. This season is called the hot weather season. Within March and April, the temperature in Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh rises up to 42 degrees Celsius. In May, northern plains experiences a temperature of 45 degrees Celsius due to the formation of low pressure. The moderating effect of the sea prevents higher temperature in the peninsular region. A low pressure belt spreads from Thar Desert in the west to Patna and Chota Nagpur in the east and southeast. Strong, humid winds blow during the hot season called Loo. Direct exposure to these winds can lead to death. Dust storms are common during this period and are accompanied with light rains and breezes. West Bengal experiences thunderstorms with intense rainfall during this season called Kal Baisakhi. Kerala, Karnataka and Goa experiences pre-monsoon showers by the end of summers called mango summers. They are called so because they help ripening of mangoes. After summers, the monsoons arrive in India by the end of May and early June. The low pressure belt on northern plains intensifies and monsoon winds generate from the subtropical areas of southern oceans. They gather lots of moisture from the oceans as they move towards the north. These monsoon winds cross the equator in a southwesterly direction and enter the Indian peninsula as southeast monsoon winds. These strong winds blow at a speed of 30 km and bring rain to the country. Southwest winds are responsible for weather change in India. Northeast parts of the country receive maximum rainfall. Mazindran in the southern ranges of Khasi Hills receives the maximum amount of rainfall. The amount of rainfall decreases from east to west. We have already studied that Rajasthan and Gujarat receive the maximum amount of rainfall. Southwest monsoons cause rainfall on the Malabar coast, whereas northwest monsoons cause rainfall on the east or Coromandel monsoon trough. Monsoon trough moves from north to south. When the trough is on the Ganga plain, it receives good rainfall. When it moves towards the Himalayas, very less or almost no amount of rainfall is received by Ganga plains and Himalayas receive high rainfall. Tropical depressions from over Bay of Bengal that follows the path of monsoon trough. This intensity of depression determines the longevity of the monsoon season that same year. The southeast trade winds coming from the southern hemisphere cross the equator and become southwest monsoon winds by Coriolis force. These winds get broken into two parts because of the triangular shape of peninsula. The two parts are the Bay of Bengal branch and the Arabian Sea branch. The Arabian Sea branch is blocked by the windward side of the Western Ghats, which receives high rainfall. The windward side or the western side gets rainfall of about 250 cms. On the other hand, the Deccan Plateau that lies on the leeward side receives much less rainfall from this branch. This leeward side is called the rain shadow region. This branch of wind on moving further east gives lesser precipitation. For example, Mumbai receives 190 cms of rainfall, whereas Pune receives 125 cms of rainfall and Thanjavur gets 85 cms of rainfall. A part of southwest monsoon winds enter the Narmada Valley and gives moderate amounts of rain in the Chota Nagpur region. Another part, Arabian Sea branch, moves towards the Kutch, Rajasthan and Gujarat and gives very less rain due to parallel alignment of the mountains to the winds. The Bay of Bengal branch first hits the western coasts of Arakan Hills, then another part moves to Shillong Plateau. The Arakan Hills deflect apart in northwesterly direction which enters West Bengal and Bangladesh from southeast and south instead of southwest. Heavy rainfall is received by the delta region of Ganga Brahmaputra and the windward side of northeast hills. Mizoram receives 1200 cms of rainfall, whereas Cherrapunji receives 1100 cms of rainfall annually. Leeward sides of Meghalaya Plateau receives rainfall of 150 cms. As we move westwards, rainfall decreases. The southwest monsoon begins retreating from the North Indian plains by the third week of September by the movement of sun to the south. It retreats from the southern parts of Ganga by the end of September and leaves completely by October. Very few parts of southern and central India receives monsoon winds in mid-November. At the beginning of December, it moves southwards and then merges with the equatorial low by the end of the month. The effect of retreating monsoon low pressure generates over northwestern India and gets to Bay of Bengal by November. This shift results in cyclonic depressions that originate over the Andaman Sea. High velocity tropical cyclones generate in Bay of Bengal. These moisture-filled winds strike the Coromandel coast. This causes serious damage to life and property. The rest of the country experiences clear skies and higher temperatures. Higher temperature and humidity makes the weather stringent. This is called October heat. Coming to the cold weather season, after the monsoon leaves, the country experiences a rapid fall in temperature. Here, the winters begin and continue till February. The coldest months of the year are January and December. The temperature falls from south to north. Southern states like Chennai experiences an average temperature of 24 degrees Celsius and the northern states experiences temperature of around 10 degrees Celsius to 15 degrees Celsius. In this season, the days are warmer than the nights. The nights are chilly and cold. This season is a dry season because northeast winds blow from land to sea. Northern parts generate a high pressure that blows through Ganga Valley from west to northwest direction. Clear skies, humidity and low temperature is a characteristic feature of the weather there. Western disturbances begin to flow from the north to northwest. These disturbances are created over Mediterranean Sea. Winter rains in play areas and snowfall in Himalayas are brought by these disturbances. Winter rains, also known as Mahavat, are important for the cultivation of Rabi crops. Let us now study about the climates in Goa. Goa is a coastal state and also experiences climates like other parts of the country. The difference is the intensity of summers, winters and rainy seasons is different from others. There are three main seasons in Goa and the temperature ranges from 25 to 35 degrees Celsius. The annual rainfall in Goa ranges from 250 to 350 cms. The rain season in Goa starts in June and ends in October. Winter starts in November and ends in February. Summers start in March and end in May. Rainy season in Goa begins by the first week of June. The southwest monsoon winds are the main cause of rainfall in Goa. The velocity of these winds are around 50 km and they bring lots of moisture with it. Due to this, the cloud can be observed 50 to 60 meters above ground. The Sahyadri Mountains block southwest winds that cause heavy rainfall in Goa from last week of June to the last week of July. The temperature stays around 25 to 28 degrees Celsius. Satari, Sangumam, Kankona receives the most amount of rainfall as compared to Salcity, Bards, Tiswadi talukas. This intensity of heavy rainfall decreases by 15th of August. The monsoon begins by the second week of October. Winters in Goa start from the month of November. The day temperature is around 25 degrees Celsius and the night temperature is around 20 degrees Celsius. Clear and bright skies, Cool breeze and low temperature is the characteristic feature of this season in Goa. Sometimes cyclones from Bay of Bengal cause rainfall in Goa during winters. Coming to the summers, the last week of February marks the starting of summers and it ends in the month of May. The temperatures ranges from 26 degrees Celsius to 35 degrees Celsius and sometimes it may rise to 40 degrees Celsius during the day. The coastal parts experiences lower temperatures. Let's move on to some fun exercises to revise the chapter. First, state any two factors affecting the climate of India. Second, what is the characteristic climate type of South and Southeast regions? Third, what is the full form of ENSO? Fourth, what do you mean by rain shadow area? Give an example. Fifth, state one advantage of mango showers. Sixth, cold weather season starts in which month? And last one, 7. How much is the average temperature of Goa during monsoons? Great answers, students. Now, let me discuss all the answers. First, the two factors affecting the climate of India are location and altitude. Second, monsoon is the characteristic type of climate in Asian and Southeast Asian regions. Third, the full form of ENSO is El Nino Southern Oscillation. Fourth, the side of the mountain that receives very less rainfall is called the rain shadow area. An example of a rain shadow area is leeward side of Western Ghats. Fifth, mango showers in Kerala, Karnataka helps in the ripening of mangoes. Sixth, the cold weather season starts in the month of December. And last one, that is 7, the average temperature of Goa during monsoons is 25 degrees Celsius to 28 degrees Celsius. With this, we have come to the end of today's class. I hope you enjoyed this session. See you all in the next class. Thank you.